The following Evil Dead panel and discussion with Kassie Depaiva and Dana DeLorenzo took place at the Full Moon Tattoo and Horror Festival in Nashville, Tennessee on April 19th, 2025.
We're going to make our way.
Hi. Nice to meet you.
Y'all better ask some good questions.
Kassie and Dana, local horror host, Dr. Gangrene. Dan asked me if I would moderate this.
Well, that's great. As long as you don't make us sick, we'll be all right.
Okay, no, I'm here for the opposite of that.
Do y'all know who Dr. Gangrene is? Of course. Is he famous here? Yes. All right.
Can I get your autograph?
That's right.
You look great. I like the glasses.
I like your beer goggles as well.
Yeah.
Oh, of course, everybody needs those.
Yes.
Dana and Kassie. Kassie, first off, Kassie Depaiva from Evil Dead 2.
Evil Dead 2 from your
Dana DeLorenzo from Ash vs. Evil Dead, of course. So, Kassie, first and foremost, welcome back to Nashville.
Thank you kindly.
I
At my
saw
start
on your
here.
website you used to work at Opryland.
I did. I got my start here. I got to sing on the Grand Ole Opry when I was 18.
That is amazing.
It was a big deal to me. It still
That is a big deal.
It still is a big deal.
Yeah. Thinking about it, I feel like, and you tell me if I'm right here, I feel like that was kind of a perfect training ground.
For Bobby Joe.
For Bobby Joe, but for both your careers, because this lady has a career in singing. She put out albums, and you got to perform on stage, so it helped you in acting. Am I right or wrong?
You were right. If I were to write a book, the title would be "You'd Never Believe This Shit." I've had this crazy career, dabbled in a lot. I mean, I'm not, not great at anything, but I've dabbled in a lot of stuff, and it has allowed me to have a really blessed journey. And doing Evil Dead, who would have thunk 38 years ago that I'd be signing autographs for swallowing an eyeball?
Write the book. Write the book.
Absolutely.
I love the title. I'm sold.
I'm not gonna believe this.
I love that.
And Dana, you kind of got to start for radio, doing some radio work.
She's also an amazing singer.
That's, oh God. You're very
Shut
kind,
up,
but please,
you
coming from someone
are.
who sang at the Grand Ole Opry,
Well,
please.
but like you said,
I'm
we
an
don't
actor
know.
who sings. I grew up doing musical theater, but yeah, I started performing at a young age. I'm from Ohio, which actually it's really interesting. From here at the hotel, I've never been to Nashville. I've never been to Tennessee. It's my first time. So happy to be here. But as soon as I looked out the window, I was like, wow, it actually looks so much like my hometown, like the rolling hills in Ohio, and it's just so beautiful, and I love so much that, and Nashville obviously is way cooler than where I'm from, which is Youngstown, but I really love how you guys have the best of both worlds. And anyway, I have a lot of friends who've moved here, and I see why. You might be getting you might have been recruiting a new person coming on. I want to make them.
I don't know if Nashville can handle her.
Everybody.
I mean, it is. I'm sweating my face off. My God. Yeah, professionally, right when I graduated college, I had I was marketing coordinator at House of Blues for a solid 6 months. I was also doing this show, Tony and Tina's Wedding, at the time. And then I got booked doing what they called special guests, basically actors who would come play a real person to generate calls on a show called The Man Cow Show. It was a nationally syndicated, morning zoo, kind of Howard Stern radio program. And then they ended up hiring me as the on-air personality, sidekick, and producer. So I got to do that, and that was a really great training ground, because I got to, kind of you jump right into it. Everything I've done, I feel like, has been very over-the-top scenarios. But, I'm glad you brought up Man Cow. Sorry, I derail. I don't know when to end a sentence. This is why dialogue needs to be written for me. Get the cane. You know to bump me. Get the cane. But how wild is this? I don't think I've ever told anybody this. So when I was on the radio, he was Man Cow. Has anybody heard Man Cow? No? Anybody before? Okay, you have, okay. So he loved a lot of sound bites, and it was think morning zoo, blah, blah. Okay, so it started every single show at 5:30 a.m. And it started the same way it was like his intro, the Man Cow Show. And it started with, are you ready for this? Didn't dawn on me till I booked the show. All right, you primitive screwheads, listen up. This is my boomstick. And then when it go boom, pop, pop, boom, and it was like into a music thing.
That is crazy.
And then when and I don't think even at the time, I had seen Army of Darkness. That was the only one I had seen when Blockbusters were still around. My friends, my guy friends rented it in high school when they didn't have the movie we wanted. And I don't think I got it. I was like, this is dumb. But then I saw Bubba Hotep in college, and I was like, this is fucking great. And then I saw Army of Darkness. I was like, it's the Bubba Hotep guy. Oh my God, this is so good. And I didn't even dawn on me. And then I booked it, and
meant to be.
How about, like, it's kind of that thing when they talk about, like, you know, you should write out things or mantras if you hear the same thing. I feel like subconsciously, the evil force, and I used that as a mantra, sort of half believing it. And this was one of those cases where, like, I have had 12 callbacks for an AT&T commercial, you know, where I don't even have a line. This was audition that was kind of already, like I said, the times all got screwed up, whatever. It was audition. The next week I was in Ohio with my mom at her chemo treatment, her second one, and I missed the callback. Now, when you miss the callback in LA, they're not like, oh, we'll make it up to you. They're like, okay, you missed it, bye.
Goodbye.
No, this woman, she's like, I'll make the exception given her circumstances. They had a special callback for me. I flew back early, came back, did a callback. All of a sudden, they're like, my whole team calls me the next week. It was 1 week. Oh, you're screen testing with Sam Raimi and Bruce Campbell. Oh, by the way, it shoots in New Zealand. And I was like, oh my God, that's amazing, but oh my God, I can't leave my mom. And then my mother, who was like a tough Sicilian Italian woman, and she's not the kind of mom that would ever give a compliment unless she meant it. She was always had a hard, you know, she would give you constructive criticism, which is why I got really tough skin. I'm really grateful for it. But when she goes, what the fuck are you gonna do for me here while I'm getting chemo? If this actually works out for you, you are going. And she was right, and it worked out, and I, like you, was like, there is no way in hell I'm gonna get this part, because I knew how big it was. I knew it had been 30 years in the making. I had read an interview that Bruce had said ahead of time. We wanted Jennifer Lawrence type. And whenever they say that, they always go with a name. Most of the things you see that are names, they let all of us audition, but they know who they're gonna go with. They just bring other people to audition to lower the rate of the payment for the star they actually want. So I was like, oh, I'm never gonna get this. So I went into it being like, I'm just so excited. What wonderful luck that in the midst of all of this terrible time in my life with my family's life, I get to go be directed by Sam Raimi and do a scene with Bruce Campbell. Holy shit. And I just truly went into it.
Nailed it.
I mean, I don't know that I did that. I did ask Sam Raimi for a second take, and the cast director's like, you put yourself on the chopping block. The whole room changed. Because I had done this scene that never ended up making it into the pilot, but I had done it one way, and he gave me a direction. I did it another way. And then he turns to the producers, because it's like, you know, doing it for everybody in the room and Bruce and blah, blah. And I had 3 scenes, and this was the 3rd scene. And he turns to like the casting directors or whatever. He's like, all right, so I would like to take the first part of this scene and take the second part of this second scene. And I interrupt him. I don't know what came over. It was one of those things. The part you're meant to get, you're not able to escape. And I would never do this now to anybody. And I interrupted him, and I was like, why don't I just do it again? And he turned, I will never forget, he literally in his suit, I will never forget this. Slowly he turns and he goes, excuse me? And I said, well, if you liked the first part of the first one and said, the second part of the second one, why don't I just do it like that? And he goes, I guess we're doing another take. And in hindsight, I remember that's how it was. And in the moment, I was like, yeah, okay, yeah, we're doing another take. And I didn't, and he gave me a compliment. He's like, you know, your instincts were right. You know yourself very well. I'm glad you asked for a second take. Always don't lose sight of that. Always trust your instincts. And then, but then the cast director's like, if you had not delivered, you were done. And she's like, but I think that's what got you the job. So yeah, it was one of those crazy things, you know?
pretty
Sam's the
scary.
best.
But what's special about you, Dana? And I don't know if you, because I guess I've known you for 2 years since.
At least.
Yeah, but
Oh.
I get to watch her with every one of her fans. Have you all been in her line yet? She gives 110% every moment with every fan, and she does it with her work. She is completely you put yourself out there, and that's very courageous, and not a lot of people have the guts to do it, and I think that's a special quality, and own that.
You're gonna make me cry.
Well, I mean it,
Oh, can you
though.
be my therapist?
Yeah, I will. I'm going to charge you $2.50.
By the way, this is like really how she is too. Like she's just you are just a light that I want to be around.
I'm just so
She
cool.
never has I have my moments though where I'm like I'm so hot, and this energy, and next to this very sweet Grand Ole Opry, classy Southern Belle, and
Old woman.
she just deals hardly.
Old woman.
She just
Yeah.
deals
Y'all
with
see
me, and she is just like so sweet, and like you give just the same to your fans. I think it's just that we get.
I don't know, motherfucker!
That was not Bobby Joe. Bobby Joe was chewing a brownie, going.
Well, Bobby Joe wanted to be badass. She really tried to be
She
badass.
did.
But she was married to Jake, who was scared. He just acted like he was badass.
I know. So, but if Bobby Joe had been like,
That's right.
I will fuck your faces with bullets, you would be doing this in photos too.
Y'all want to take some questions from the
Yeah.
audience?
Sure.
We want some good questions.
Well, no pressure. Oh, look, they're like, we're getting the fuck out now. Oh, hi. Good to see you. You were my
Too much
first of the day.
language. Too much languge for both of us.
I gotta get it.
Sorry, no, she's
Oh.
fine. She flipped off the camera. Her dad let her watch the show when she was 5. It's fine. Dad, I called you out in front of everyone. Dad. It's because I love you guys.
All right, if they're not going to ask a question, I will talk about Bruce. Tell me about Bruce.
That's what I was going to say. Just don't ask what it's like to work with Bruce. Bruce
You know
is
what?
fantastic.
Yeah, because I get asked so much, I found a way to say it as concisely as
Say it,
possible.
'cause you're good
And
at
tell
it.
me if you think this is a good way to say it.
Fuck y'all, that's what you say.
No, of course I love talking about it. This is the most concise way to answer that.
Okay.
They're like, what's it like working with Bruce Campbell? It's exactly as you hope it would be, only even better.
Yeah.
That's really the only way to, instead of like giving you a million anecdotes.
Oh, we got a question back here. Right on, brother.
For you, I was a big fan of Chelsea Bauer and Guy Light. Just wanted to say I love your soap opera history, One Life to Live.
Thank you.
A lot of fun. So.
I've had a wonderful, you won't believe this shit.
Right, no, look.
Yeah. So thank you. Joe, I got Guiding Light. I came back from doing Evil Dead. A week later, I had my first audition for Chelsea. And we shot this movie in 1986, but it wasn't released until 1987, and I had been on Guiding Light for like 8 months. And I saw it, I went to see it in Times Square in New York with Sam. And it's huge. I've never been, because I grew up in a small town in Kentucky, and I've never been to such a big movie theater. And that's where people talk to in horror films, don't go in there! Oh my God! Screaming and stuff. But somebody was sitting in front, they go, oh my God, she's on my stories. she's like, I'm loving that. Tap her on the shoulder and said, yeah, she was, yeah, so it's a small world. But thank you for your appreciation of daytime television. I love it too.
Go ahead back there.
Well, for both of you, one, you filmed a movie, you filmed a series. How was the physical attributes of it? Because I've seen them all, and you have a very physical role many, many times, but you were in the feature.
Anybody have eyes on that?
Feature film.
Yeah.
What was the physical demands?
Well, the physical demands for me, because Bobby Joe was drugged through the woods, and I had to do the prosthetics, so I got to go and do. That was really cool too for me because I'd never done anything like that and have the body molds done.
Which are kind of terrifying.
Yeah, and it was hot, but it wasn't as physical. I didn't have to do. The character of Annie had to fight off a bunch of stuff. Bobby Joe just kind of went, ooh, I got shot, or Jake, you're holding my hand too tight. She was such a weenie. But it was hot. I just remember it being so hot, and we did a lot of nighttime shooting. And I don't know if you did a lot of nighttime shooting
Well,
in your stuff. I don't know.
We did one nighttime scene, And Bruce was like, no more.
Good.
That was our opening, the opening to our show.
Yeah.
Is, even though it takes place in daylight,
Yeah.
which by the way was really trippy for your brain. That scene in the value stop, the start of Ash vs. Evil Dead, all of it. And it's daylight. No, those were lights. It was pitch black. It was 4 a.m. We started filming. Yeah, Bruce was a little cranky for that one, so I don't think we were gonna do that anymore. Because
You're
it
lucky,
really
though.
throws you off.
Yeah.
Your whole body. So yeah, but shooting at night, so you were doing.
Well, we did all the outside cabin stuff and the pulling of the when Bobby Joe meets her demise, and when you're running through the woods, and when we had the carrying the trunk up in the bridge and all that kind of stuff. But they were night shoots, so.
But that's like that's not 10 o'clock at night. That's like 2, 3, 4,
yeah.
5,
Yeah,
up
yeah,
until the
and-
sun comes up. You're shooting.
And then you go
opposite.
home at 7 o'clock in the morning
Yeah.
and you sleep, and you have to have a certain amount of turnaround within the union. So
Meaning until you are allowed to come back and ask for work, but then you have
Yeah.
to come back to work and you have to be there at 6 a.m. It's a really tricky.
And they would just as soon pay you a $15 penalty or a $35 meal penalty and just work around the clock. I mean, it was grueling, but it was fun. I was young. I
Yeah.
was too stupid to know better. But I learned a lot, and it was great.
That's it. Yeah. Yeah, and for the physical stuff, I was so excited to I was the person that's like, I want to do all my own stunts, and they're like, insurance is not going to pay for that, Tom Cruise. Calm down. But I did get to do my amazing stunt double. Did the ones that the insurance wouldn't cover. But I did get to do quite a few of them to the extent of getting, being in a harness and getting pulled and that whole thing with the Deadite Mrs. Johnson in the beginning, but where I get it goes really quick. You can't even tell how much. That's why these things take such a long time, guys, because you're like, what? Like my mother, which came to visit, she's like, how many times are you guys gonna do this scene? It's 15 seconds over and over. And I go, it really takes a long time, even though we moved very quickly on our show, to film these kinds of things. But the one stunt I did get to do, unfortunately, because my stunt double did the stunt and then tore her ACL.
Oh.
And so they're like, I didn't really have a choice because I'm like, well, I haven't ever even rehearsed this. And they were like, well, then you can't be in the scene, we gotta do it. So it was the tree scene, the fight with the fucking tree with me and Lucy in season 2.
You know how stupid that sounds?
No,
I
no, I know, wait.
And
And we were in the real woods and real industrial fans. I was hanging upside down by my ankles and 40 feet in air. I had no idea what I was doing and literally just didn't even think about the fact that my stunt double had trained for this and did it all properly and still tore her ACL. And I was like, wah! And I think I posted something about it, and I had pine needles in every orifice of my body. That was the worst part. I got vertigo, but wait, and then they cut most of it out. But I have the videos to prove I did it, and I felt like, it's cool when you get to do that kind of physical stuff. It kicks your ass. And you're just like, oh, but then you're like, have you ever scraped your knee as a kid? You're like, that hurts, I have gravel in my knee, but this can be a badass scar. You know what I mean? It's kind of that feeling where you're like, I know how awesome this is gonna look. And it feels, it's I don't know, I love doing that stuff. And I didn't tear my ACL, so
I have a question about scripts. Since yours was episodic and made for cable, did you get scripts delivered in advance, or was it
Sure. No, most of the time we moved. The only time we had time, that sounds funny though, the pilot, which was Sam's episode, the only one he directed, was a little bit longer. The rest of them were 26 to 28 minutes, but his was 45 minutes, so it was about a 45 to 50 page script. This was the intro into the film for me, the TV show of I thought it was gonna be like this all the time. We shot, this is very unheard of. We shot in order, which they never do. They usually, when you watch it, they'll watch.
they piece things together.
They piece things together, so that's what, okay.
Wow.
I can tell you guys, tiny violin. No, but so we got to shoot in order. I got to watch myself on the monitor and playback, and Sam was such an amazing director. They'd be like, okay, so I like this, and like, do you see what you did here? Like, well, it's maybe, oh, it was wonderful. He leaves after 22 days. 22 days we got to, meaning like Monday through Friday, to shoot that first episode. And then, sorry, you asked me about scripts, I go off on tangents, sorry. But then Monday, we got the next director for the next. We shot each episode in 5 days, and we were shooting 2 at the same time. So you would do them in blocks. So like episode 2 and 3 were shot within the same 2-week span. So one day we'd be doing episode 2 scene, the next day we'd be doing episode 3. So you had always like, it was really good training for me because I've never done that.
That's kind of what they do on soap operas too.
Oh,
So,
that is.
you know, we do
the
one
hardest.
episode a day, and sometimes we do 10 episodes a week. So it's mushing into stuff.
And you guys have, well, so I guess I was gonna say how we had to learn very quickly. We had to learn the lines, because a lot of times you get rewrites or whatever, but we were oftentimes reading the script for that episode at lunch. That when we would start filming Monday, and it was like a Thursday, but also, so no, we didn't get them in advance, they were under wraps, because also there was this imminent threat of, we were told, none of you are safe. Any of you could die any week. Well, and then Ray would like, I know who's dead this week, and I would like, and walk away, and because he would like steal the scripts from people, because he's really good at that. He's like, he would fuck with me so bad, and I would be like, tell me, he's like, girl, I'm just saying. And I was like, you better go say hi to Rob Tapper and get on his good side. And I would panic all week. No. But so we would get him very late, but you guys had to memorize an hour of dialogue daily.
That's crazy.
That is, but that like does it become a muscle where you're, because
Well,
that's a skill.
it's your paycheck, so you either learn it or you don't get paid. Or you do get fired, or you wake up, the next script's like, ooh, I'm in a coma.
That's crazy though, what you guys do, that's gotta be the best training.
Yeah, hopefully I won't get early onset dementia because of it, or
I think it's the opposite.
Or maybe it's, you know, I'm living.
I think he's gonna live forever.
Who knows?
We're getting the
One more question.
signal.
Okay.
One more, anyone have a
Go
good
ahead,
question?
thank you.
Oh, he's got it.
I
He's
got it.
ready. It's gonna be the best question ever asked. Go.
Oh, shit.
I'm just fucking with you.
Danny, you said you were a musical theater kid.
Yeah.
What's your favorite, what are musicals that you like? What's your favorite musical?
In terms of I peaked at 15, and my best role was playing Mama Rose and Gypsy in my high school. And honest to God, I peaked. That was it for me. I was like, why am I even here? I love anything Sondheim. But in terms of also, like, I was a Rent kid because that was like big at the time. I will still listen to, like, I'm going to set to be like badass Kelly Maxwell. Like some days it was like listening to everything's coming up roses, you know, that kind of, or like there's no business like show, but you know, yeah. But I love cabaret. I love Funny Girl. What about you? Come on, you know you're asking.
Yeah, well, we have a whole playlist that we
Wicked,
go
for
through
sure.
constantly.
Oh my God, Wicked. Yes, OG
We went to see it
Wicked.
in Memphis, and it was like the best ever.
Fantastic.
Great. But you have you ever done musical theater? Because you sing.
I did 110 in the Shade. It's an old show. They had the song that I was probably the most fun. They had a song called Raunchy, which you could tear up. You should try to.
I'm
listen
not
to
a
it.
singer like you, Miss
No,
Cradle
no.
I want you to sing it. When are we doing a concert?
Yeah, right.
Concert.
No.
All right, that's gonna keep chanting for you.
The musical theater, I auditioned for Annie Get Your Gun on Broadway. They were replacing somebody for like 6 weeks. I thought, well, I can do that. I'm from Kentucky. I know my country stuff. After my audition, I wanted to stand out in the middle of Broadway and let a bus hit me. I sucked. I was so, auditioning is hard, and I think I sabotaged myself. I was like, I just like walked out going, what the hell did I just do? Let me just stand out and let a bus knock me down. Yeah, it was terrible.
Well, thank you. Thank
you
both.
all for
Everybody.
Yeah, thanks for coming by. Yeah, come see us at our table.
We're right beside each other.
We are. We'll put on a whole musical review.